In this video, I will show you how to address the issue of ghost flushing by replacing the flush valve. Here is a complete list of tools and supplies which is included in the notes below. What is ghost flushing? Every now and again you hear the tank filling up with water. What's happening inside, there is a flapper that keeps the water going from the tank to the bowl unless you flush. When you flush, the flapper opens, allows the water to flow from the tank to the bowl. When the flapper gets old, it doesn't seal as well. Therefore, small amount of water leaks from the tank to the bowl. The fill valve that's inside will try to compensate for that, and it starts filling up the tank. So when the flapper gets old, we can replace it. And if the replacement of the flapper doesn't resolve the issue, then we have to replace the flush valve. Start by shutting off the water supply valve to the tank. Next, flush the tank. Remove excess water from the bottom of the tank using a sponge. Remove the water supply hose from the tank. Next, remove the tank bolts. Sometimes these bolts are rusted and you may have to use a hacksaw to remove them. Take extra care to make sure you don't damage the tank. Once the bolts are removed, remove the tank, turn it upside down, use channel locks to remove the nut holding the old flush valve, then remove the seal. Use some Windex to clean the tank. Make note of the water level line in the tank. Top of the flush valve needs to be at least 1 inch above that line. Also make note of the top of the flush valve to make sure that it is below the hole for the flush handle. Now that we have the ideal height for our flush valve tube, we may need to cut it. Use a hacksaw to cut. Next, mount the flush valve and use channel locks to tighten the nut. Do not over tighten. Next, we put the seal on. Knowing that there are imperfections inside the tank, here's the order of the hardware. Inside the tank, we have the head of the bolt, followed by a rubber washer. Outside the tank, we have the brass washer and the hex nut, diagram on the top right. Use a screwdriver and adjustable wrench to tighten the hardware. Do not over tighten because that may crack the tank. Also on the top right hand side shows a 3-bolt pattern. Here's an extra step to ensure there are no leaks from the tank. Set the tank on top of a 5-gallon bucket, install the flapper, pour some water in and check for leaks. Next, it's time to mount the tank using a rubber washer, metal washer, and a nut. Use an adjustable wrench to tighten the nut, but do not over tighten because that will damage the bowl. I prefer using wing nuts since they could potentially prevent over tightening. Here's the nut, metal washer, and the rubber washer under the bowl. And there is the nut and the metal washer under the tank. And notice that how nicely the tank is sitting on top of the bowl. Here's the tube that feeds water to the toilet bowl while the tank is filling up. Notice that the water has to go through the overflow pipe. So next we connect the water supply line, and this is hand tightened. Here's the flapper I like to use, the Corky brand non-adjustable. And it attaches itself to the flush valve. It's here that the 2 ears are resting on the tabs. Next, the chain is attached, a couple of options on the handle in this case. keeping in mind that when the lever is completely up, the chain is fully extended, opening the flapper all the way, and making sure that the lever does not go past the top of the tank. Next, we turn the water back on. At this point, the tank is filling up and we have water going through the overflow tube into the bowl. I like to take a couple of pieces of tissue, lay them down on each side of the tank to check for leaks. Flush and check for leaks. First place to check would be the gap between the tank and the bowl, where the seal is. Next place to check would be the bolts. If there are no leaks, put the lid back on. Job well done. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.